Campbell passed away in Honolulu on October 30th, 1987. As soon as people at Esalen got the news, they organized a weekend memorial for him. He had been very influential there and had made many friends. When I found out there was to be a memorial, my decision on what to sign up for at Esalen was clear. Joe's wife, the dancer Jean Erdman, and the philosopher Sam Keen arranged to be there as well. I remember the exact time when I found out Joe had passed. I was over on the Big Island walking over the warm lava beds after an eruption. Somebody I had never seen before just came up to me out of the blue on the lava field and said, "Joseph Campbell just died." That was amazing. It was a surprising moment of connection. I thought it was auspicious that Joe transitioned at Halloween, when the veil is thin. It was all black and orange out there on the lava fields, and I paused to make a little altar for him. It was the end of an era. 6 weeks later, on a Friday night, I drove the 150 miles down the Pacific coast and had some wonderful organic food from the gardens and got ready for the first meeting of the group. Saturday morning, the first session of the memorial was from 10 a.m. till 12:30 p.m. in Huxley, the mirror-lined dance studio and meeting room right off the dining area. Everybody there knew that the 40 of us who had come were a special family. We all just wanted to remember Joe. The only time they ever had hard liquor at Esalen was when Campbell was here. JJ, a longtime staff member, told me recently. I knew Joe taught every year during the week of his birthday. They'd bring in a case of single malt scotch because he loved it, and it would disappear by the end of the week, JJ added. It was always a high point of the year for everybody. I was lucky to be there for that special week 3 times, but this was the first I'd heard about the scotch. After the introductory session, where people told more Joe stories, I went next door and sat down at the table in the lunchroom where Joe used to hold court. "Isn't it wonderful that we can all be here to celebrate Joseph's life and work?" the woman sitting next to me said. To my absolute amazement, I recognized her voice. It was Joan Marler, whom I had been listening to on KPFA for years as the host of women's spirituality programs, and I had always wanted to meet her. "Hi, Joan, I'm Sandy. I listen to your programs all the time and really love them." "Hey, Sandy, it's very nice to meet you," she said with a warm smile. The woman across from us lit up and asked, "Does anybody know anything about the myth of the descent of Inanna?" Joan and I looked at each other and excitedly started telling the story of the feminine descent into the underworld. She began, "It's a story of feminine initiation. Inanna, Sumerian goddess of heaven and earth, journeys into the underworld. Yes," I added, "and she descends down to the world of Erishkigal, her dark sister, where she is killed and hung upside down to rot. And then," Joan went on, "Inanna rediscovers the divine feminine and prepares to come back to restore feminine values to modern culture. She receives the water of life and brings it back to the upper world," I said. "Back to the patriarchal world, which so badly needs the feminine," finished Joan. Joan and I were both familiar with Descent to the Goddess, a way of initiation for women. That provocative book is part of a series of studies in Jungian psychology. As Joan and I were recounting this archetypal tale, sitting close in the crowded dining room, a huge blast of freezing air came up from the floor between us along the entire length of our bodies. Joan turned and looked right at me in that moment with a quiet intensity. "I want you to come get trained at KPFA," she said. That should have been shocking, but in that sacred place, at that amazing moment, it seemed so possible.